Hi everyone. This video is for anyone who is doing the Ancestral challenge or the Ancestral protocol. So I want to start with what Ancestral eating is. It's basically the same as Carnivore. You know, it's a lot of animal fat, animal protein. So it's heavily based on meat and protein and fat. However, you will have some plants in there, so mainly fruit. And remember that in fruit, things like pumpkin, squash, cucumber, avocado, all those fruits that we think about as vegetables, but they're actually fruits. So something to remember. Now, there are many reasons for people to choose the ancestral approach. One thing is that it's just easier to adapt. It can be hard to just eat meat all the time. I can appreciate that. When I first started, I had a slower transition, so I was doing more of an ancestral approach where I had some fruits. Maybe it's easier for you to keep your electrolyte levels up. Maybe you just like fruit, that's fine. Whatever your reasons are, that's totally fine. You make it work for you. So we do want to keep plants to a minimum, and this is because plants have defense chemicals and anti-nutrients, which really interferes with your body's absorption of nutrients. It irritates your gut, and it can create inflammation, pain, digestive issues, and so on. So that is why we keep plants to a zero or a minimum. Now, fruits, yes, they still have anti-nutrients and they still have defense chemicals, but plants want to survive, okay? So the reason they have the defense chemicals and the anti-nutrients is to protect themselves. And the highest levels of those things are in things like the seeds, the stem, and the leaves. The fruit usually contains a little bit of seeds. And when an animal eats the fruit, it will get the seeds, and then it will go on into the forest, whatever, and it will poo out the seeds, and the plant will grow up, and it will proliferate and keep on living. So that is why the plant technically wants you to eat it. So it will have less defense chemicals and less anti-nutrients within the fruit. So it's less toxic, and that is why we say if you want to have plants, you can eat some fruit. In saying this, yes, you can have some plants. It's up to you. Eat the fruit. Remember, they do contain sugar. Sugar can cause a lot of issues for a lot of people. It depends on your metabolic health, your activity level, and so on. We are designed to eat fat and meat, fat and protein. However, back in the day when we were hunters and gatherers, we no doubt, if we came across berries or whatever fruits, we most likely ate it. Same thing with honey. Of course, we would eat it. But the thing is, you would not run into fruit and honey very often, and especially my ancestors. I'm from Sweden. Even during summer, it doesn't get that hot, it doesn't get that warm, we don't get that much sunlight, so we wouldn't have that much fruit available to us. So that's something to consider. Just because, yes, we ate fruit in the past, it doesn't mean that you should eat mountains of fruit every single day, because it contains sugar. Sugar will affect your hormones. It will have an impact on insulin, which will have an impact on the rest of your body, which we will talk about more later. So keep it to a minimum. So when I say keep plants to a minimum, I mean go as much as you can without plants. If you feel like, you know, when I first started, it was hot here in Australia, it was summer, I felt like I needed something fresh, so I would have one piece of fruit. And that would kind of help me get started. It helped me in the beginning to kind of transition, you know, when your electrolytes can go down. So fruit does contain electrolytes, so that helped me. Or I would use a squeeze of lemon or squeeze of lime in some water with a bit of salt, and that would be my natural electrolytes with a little bit of coconut water. It wasn't much, but it was just something that kind of helped me to stay on this carnivore-based diet. I didn't have heaps, because if you have a lot of fruit, it's still a plant, still contains fibers, still has sugars, so then you will still get the gas and the bloating. And if you do not exclude plants as much as you can, then it's really difficult for you to later on to learn what plants actually affect you, because you might be fine to eat berries, but you might not be okay with eating bananas. But if you don't exclude that for a period of time to then later add it back in, it's going to be difficult to see what plants you can tolerate and what plants you cannot tolerate. So keep it to a minimum. Okay, and any questions, just ask away.